would like to underscore that this is a prototype, it's a toy algorithm, which is meant to illustrate the types of things that can be done. The feasibility. This is not something to go out and plug into a real house tomorrow. But it does address the problems I just mentioned. So, if you look at the picture here, this is what reinforcement learning looks like. There's a world. There are sensors that measure parts of that world and report it to an agent, a decision maker, an algorithm in our case. And that agent takes actions. It does things. It decides. It turns things on and off. Spins things around. Which affects the world. Which affects what the sensors read. And the cycle continues. There's also a reward. Depending on the state of the world, the agent perceives a certain reward. So, in the case of a house, perhaps the reward is set to be maximum when the temperature is at 70 degrees. The agent then, a reinforcement learning agent, will take actions to drive the sensors to read 70 degrees. And that's what reinforcement learning does. So, let's consider this example of a smart thermostat. So the sensor is a thermometer, and the actuator is a heater switch. You can turn the heater on or off. The world consists of the heater itself, the ducts, the rooms, the natural gas supply line, the filters, the walls, the weather, the down comforter that bursts and put feathers in the air that clogs the filter vent, and everything else, and especially the people. We're going to assume that going through this cycle takes 10 minutes. Each 10 minutes, the sensor is sending new signals to the agent, and the agent makes a new decision. And the brain will be our new reinforcement learning algorithm. So to step one through this loop, we measure the temperature at 68 degrees, and the agent has to make a decision, so arbitrarily chooses to turn the heater on for 10 minutes. And then, after that, the temperature is measured at 70 degrees. Once through this cycle, so we take that information and put it into a table. So we measured the sensor value before, the action that was taken, and then the sensor value the next time around. We also add a column that shows the number of times that we've observed this. So here we can see this has just happened once. We'll go ahead and add another column that shows how many times this has had the opportunity to occur. So for instance, each time the temperature is 60 degrees and the heater is turned on, there are any number of outcomes that have the opportunity to occur. Temperature could end up being 68, 69, 71 degrees, but only one of them actually occur. So they all have the opportunity, but there's only one observation for going through this loop. We can also add to that an estimate of the probability that this will happen in the future. So because we have one observation and one opportunity of 68 degrees, heater on, 70 degrees, they'll say 100% of the time we've tried, this has happened. With the others, 0% of the time this has happened. Obviously a very crude probability estimate, but correct in the frequentist sense. And then we can add to our table to account for what if we had left the heater off? Again, there are lots of possible outcomes. So far, none of these have had the opportunity to occur, and there have been no observations. So let's go through the loop again. At a later time, the thermometer again measures 68 degrees. And the agent arbitrarily decides to turn the heater off for the next 10 minutes. After that time, the temperature is measured at 65 degrees. We can go back to our table, find the appropriate row, 68 degrees, heater off, 65 degrees. We can increment the observations to 1, and then we can increase the opportunities by 1 for all of the 68 degrees heater off sequences. The probability reflects this. We estimate 100% chance of ending at 65 degrees if we leave the heater off at 68 degrees. And then we go through the cycle again. But we go through it again and again for a very long time. And say after a while, we've built up. We've had lots of opportunities at 68 degrees to turn the heater on and turn the heater off and to see what the result was. And these get compiled in the table like this. You'll see the total number of opportunities for leaving the heater on are at 385. Most of the observations, the majority, fall at 70 degrees, but some at 69, some at 71, and some outside of that. And the probabilities reflect that. 51% probability that it'll end at 70 degrees, and reduced probabilities of other outcomes. Similarly, starting with 68 degrees and leaving the heater off, we see that out of 373 opportunities, 158, a plurality of those, occurred at 67 degrees. And then there were somewhat lesser probabilities for the other outcomes. This is important. This is a model. What we see here is an estimate of, given a state and an action, what's likely to occur. This lets us do a couple of things. If we know a state and we know what action we took, we know what outcome to expect. We can also work it backward. If we know our state and we know where we want to end up, we can take the action that's most likely to get us there. So now, we've been neglecting the reward for now. So let's bring that in. And let's say that this agent gets a reward every time the temperature is 70 degrees. Right now, the thermometer reads 68. So the agent, the reinforcement learning algorithm, has to decide whether to turn the heater on or off. Now, the way it does this is it goes through its model, and it says, well, I'm at 68 degrees. Let me identify all of the outcomes that end in 70 degrees, all of the rows that have an outcome of 70 degrees. And we see that both leaving the heater on or turning it off might end at 70 degrees. So to choose between them, we look at the relative probabilities of each of these. And we see that turning the heater on actually has a much higher probability, 51% probability, more than 50 times the probability of leaving the heater off. It's a much better choice. So the algorithm chooses to turn the heater on. So this has been a simple illustration of this algorithm. It's part of a bigger project called Becca, which is intended to be a general purpose brain for houses and robots and other things. If you are interested in diving into the technical details, you are more than welcome. The Python code and the documentation is available at this website. It is released free under a permissive open source license. You are free to reuse it however you want. Also, feel free to ask me questions about it later. As a side note, this is not a Microsoft-sponsored product or project or activity. As I mentioned, it's just an example to show this process of turning something with sensors and actuators into a house, into a robot. And it illustrates the fact that these challenges in traditional machine learning approaches are addressable. Because it's an incremental algorithm. That means it learns a little bit each time through the cycle. It starts, even with no data at all, starts learning. and it never stops. It's meant to mimic the learning of a puppy or a human child. It doesn't require any ongoing human participation. Once it's set up, it will learn from all of its decisions. Its good ones, and actually, its bad ones are even more informative. It constantly adapts to changes. I haven't highlighted how, but this algorithm handles changes in the world, changes in reward, changes in sensors and actuators on an ongoing basis. And it learns the best decisions to make, or good decisions to make at least, in any given situation. I'd like to include a caveat here. For those of you looking at the table before, you'll notice that even for one sensor, for one initial degree setting, for just 2 actions, we have a whole page full of rows. Imagine if we included starting points of not just 68 degrees, but all of the possible temperatures that we might start from in the house. Multiply that out by not just one thermometer, but all of the sensors in the house, which, as we saw on the previous slide, there can be many of them, and many of them much more complex than a thermometer. Now multiply that, square that essentially, to get the number of rows for all of those inputs and all of those outputs. For every sensor input, we have to look at the probability then of every possible sensor output occurring, and multiply that again by the number of actions that you can possibly take across all of your actuators. The number of rows gets very large very quickly. This is a real issue. But it's still fast. It still works. And here's why. It gets big, but it's polynomial, not exponential. We're taking the number of sensors and actuators and multiplying it by itself a couple of times. So it looks polynomial. We're not raising anything to the power of the number of sensors or actuators. So we're not... We're talking about storage, about disk space, not about processing time. The number of rows can be stored on huge hard disks. And in fact, in database form, there's some pretty efficient ways to reach it and pull that information out if we know what we're looking for. The processing is very quick. The processing is also very simple, which makes it even quicker. The computation is mostly comparisons, greater than, less than, equal to, and some simple arithmetic. Now, if you're an architect, you're thinking about how you build such a thing. This is suited really well for sitting in a large database. Most of these rows will be either empty or nearly empty. They'll be very rare. This can be compressed or even neglected altogether. It's also suited very well for cloud processing. We're having a lot of storage, and having it cheaply accessible is a bonus. And it's particularly well suited to a data lake setup, where your data is stored and the computation actually takes place at the point of storage. It doesn't have to get pulled and transmitted anywhere. Now, if you happen to be looking for ways to implement this, I happen to know a very reputable vendor of world-class products in each of these areas, which I'd be more than happy to connect you with after the talk. So, just to show you a bit of an example here, I want to show you Whistle the robot chasing a ball. So, Whistle's a robot puppy, and his job is to catch that ball. What that means is that his brain is a reinforcement learning algorithm, and he gets a reward every time he hits that ball right between his eyes. When he does, another ball appears somewhere else. He starts off life knowing nothing about what or who he is, what he's sensing, how he moves, what his world looks like. But he starts experimenting. He starts filling in his table of before, movement, sensor, action, sensor, rows. And he starts to learn what states result from what decisions. And more importantly, he starts to learn which of those can result in reward. The longer he runs, the longer he trains, the better he gets at getting the ball. And you can see that as he matures, he's able to move toward the ball more directly. Not perfectly, but more smoothly, with fewer wasted motions and fewer collisions. This is similar to how, over time, a robot house would learn to do things that result in greater reward. And as a resident of the house would give the house a thumbs up, either explicitly or just an attaboy, for doing things that were desired, he would get better and better at doing those things. So, of everything that I've said, notice that it all applies to, yes, houses, but other things as well. So, imagine not just a robot house, but an entire neighborhood with coordinated traffic lights, street lights, security systems, infrastructure, or an office complex. Each would have its own unique set of sensors and actuators. Each would have its own unique reward that it needed to optimize. But a brain that can learn to piece all those together would be able to serve both of them equally well. In transportation, road traffic, air traffic could be helped out. Also, there are applications in self-driving cars or in fleets of cars, coordinating and caravanning those. In consumer industries, entertainment and advertisement, there's a lot to be learned, and it's tough to write rules for those because people that are involved are so hard to predict. In the cyber realm, security constantly changing. The need for adaptation is huge there, but also the ability to interact with social networks and internet trends. In infrastructure, helping to control and moderate natural gas, electricity, water, petroleum, and its gas response. And in production industries, assembly line manufacturing and agriculture can also be turned into robots. Robots can save money, natural resources, time, and even lives when implemented well and carefully. And we're very close to being able to do this. We have the sensors, we have the actuators, and we're just missing the brain. Thanks for your attention. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to contact me on email, look me up on LinkedIn, Twitter. You can check out publications and examples that I've posted at github.io. And if you'd like to check out the source code for the algorithm I showed, the link is there as well. Thank you.